Good morning, Gills fans. Welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. Myself and Boz this morning are looking ahead to tomorrow's game. Is it already crucial? I'm the Southend.
Yeah, it is. Because usually, a banker's probably the wrong word. You know, usually against Southend we have positive results, but
We said that against Bradford a fortnight ago, didn't we? Unfortunately, so. But then not just must win, but must score.
Yeah, just a goal, you know.
A goal would be nice, yeah. Obviously, if we score and get beat, it means nothing. So then you say, well, 0-0's better, but obviously we need to start scoring goals.
We need to win soon, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think the two home games. Well, we've got 3 home games, haven't we, this week? So regardless of what we think of the Checker Trade Trophy, it's a good opportunity for number one, those that are maybe not getting minutes to get a game, the likes of Oldacre, Hessenthaler, might get Steve Arnold some minutes. But more importantly, it's an opportunity to try and pick up at least a couple of wins. But
just to get a bit of momentum going. I think once we start, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone seems to be saying. And as frustrating as it's been, I don't think the performances have been that bad. I know we sound a little bit like Adi Pennick here, but the performances haven't been a disaster from what I've read and what we've seen.
It's just going forward again, and we keep saying it.
Yeah.
Defensively, fine. Going forwards, it's a struggle.
Oh yeah, we're averaging less than a goal a game conceded, but we're averaging less than a goal a season scored. I think I joked and said last week on one of my videos, but we've got Thursday's Medway Messenger. Luck's not on our side is the back headline. There's a picture of Max Amar, who evidently had a stonewaller last week after Josh Wright had missed the first one, which for me was never a penalty. I didn't think theirs was, I didn't think ours was. They were both horrendous decisions. But apparently, don't fall off your seat, Trevor Kettle emailed Adi Pennick at the football club and did apologise and said that he got them wrong and that we should have had the one after as well. Like Adi said, it doesn't help us now.
So he apologised for all the stuff he's done wrong down the years.
I don't think the emails. I think the email would have blown up, but fair play in as much as at least the ref's been big enough to admit.
They're big enough to iron up.
But the other side is we don't get any points for that, do we? Unfortunately, we don't get the chance to go back up.
We had the chance, and obviously sadly it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, as guilty a chance as you can get was Josh Wright. It's an horrendous penalty. I've seen a couple of other people's vlogs and stuff like that, Lewis and people like that, and just general chat on social media. He's leaning back. It looks like he's changed his mind.
The keeper's gone early as well.
Keeper's just fallen over to the side. All you've got to do is roll it in the corner. I don't know whether Josh has decided to blast it early on or he's changed his mind, but it's horrible, really horrible. And when the luck's going against you, I suppose that's what happens. But in terms of Southend, Carlton Cole apparently on trial.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get done today because we all know what will happen if he plays tomorrow.
Last minute 1-0, just before we missed a penalty.
Yeah, they've not got a bad squad this season, have they? It's a small squad, but it's a bit of quality in it.
I still didn't publish it. I wrote a draft league and I had them in the top 6, but I think they've got 4 points, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they play one well and then they get beat well at Rotherham, didn't they?
Well, absolutely battered at Rotherham. Oh, they beat Blackburn, didn't they? First game of the season, really good. And then, got smashed up at Rotherham 5-0. I think that was 4-0 down at the break, weren't they? Because I think the first game of the season, Phil Brown said the first 45 minutes was as good as they've been since he's been there. And then wasn't it the week after he come out and said, apart from the keeper couldn't save anything, the defenders couldn't defend, the midfielders couldn't pass or tackle and the forwards couldn't shoot, he said it was a perfect performance. So it was literally one extreme to the other. And then last week...
I'm sure they drew last week.
They definitely drew last week. I'm trying to find out who... Oh, Plymouth. They drew at home to Plymouth. So I've been bashed away and taken... So all their points have been at Roots Hall, so fingers crossed. If they're decent performance, poor performance, decent performance, and then this is Gills, it never goes to routine or whatever. Inside, obviously, Luke O'Neill, he writes for the Shouting Men this week. 3 points is all that matters, but obviously there's a little bit more on it for him because it's his former club. He talks about whether he'll get a decent reaction. He said the fans were generally good with him when he was there. I can't see why there's a reason that he'd get a poor reception from the Southend fans. You'll get the odd idiot that'll just shout out for the sake of shouting.
Just for the fact he was an ex-player.
I don't think he did a lot wrong there. From what we've seen, I know it's very early days, he doesn't look the type to kick up a fuss, but
I think he's been decent from what we've seen on the reports.
I've been very impressed with him. I prefer him at centre-half, to be honest. I know that I'm going down that route of last season that I didn't like, but if he's going to play there every week, then I've got no issue with it. I thought he was very good. Like we said last week, unfortunately at the moment with Waggy and Garms both struggling, we end up with 2 defensive-minded wing-backs and then we always seem to be behind the 8 ball, so to speak. We're not getting beyond...
It's not even just for defensive wing-backs, it's when you play 2 holding midfields in front of them and you're relying on the 3.
Yeah.
Martin and whether it be Hughes and Barker.
And when you've only got one creative midfielder per se, that's what everyone's saying. We've obviously got people that can pick a pass. Billy Bingham, if he's fit, Josh Wright can pick a pass, but the one that they're saying is the one that's going to create is Lee Martin.
I don't agree with this. If you can do I know that injuries dictate it, but if you're playing with fullbacks at wing back at home, do you need 2 defensive midfielders?
No, we haven't got any at the moment, have we? We haven't got any.
We line up like it, don't we?
We try to, yeah, but Burn's not, I don't think. I think Burn and Josh Wright are centre midfielders. I don't think they're holding midfielders, the two. I think that Billy Bingham and, dare I say, Aaron Morris apparently is not too far away. What that means, I don't know. We don't get a time scale, but but he needs to be looked after, unfortunately, because he's...
Can't be rushed back, because then we go back to again what we've been doing with Jackson the last few seasons.
I think it's even worse than that. I think it could be last chance. If that knee goes again, I think he might be done, unfortunately. And I hope not, because he's really important to us. But rest of the paper, obviously, there's a little bit about the ladies' team. I saw played at Priestfield last week, which was beat West Ham. Yeah, I think it was last minute. I think Lewis Browning covered it on his White Lines Media. I've not had a chance to look through it yet, but I see he covered it. Yeah, so I think it was about just under 300 at Priestfield. So can't argue with that. Steve Arnold, it's good to be back playing full time, especially at a club like this. He writes, speaks to Luke Cordell about. He was part time last season.
Yeah, Dover only part time.
And he said that it was really odd for him. He said he was really struggling because he'd been full time all his life. He said his body clock was out all the time because he was having to. He was effectively because he wasn't working because he'd gone from full time football. So he said he was literally just chilling out during the day and then trying to get into training mode at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, and he wasn't coping very well. He said, so it's great that he's coming back into a full time environment, so he gets up at effectively the right times for him and stuff like that. Interesting. He says, I know. He talks about saying, I'm not the type of keeper that comes in and demands to start. He knows he's got to work hard. And on the keeper situation, again, we've said Thomas Owen's done absolutely nothing wrong all season, hasn't he?
People wrong.
It's proven me very wrong because I was all for Tom Adler playing, who also kept a clean sheet last week, I believe, on his debut. So again, we've got keepers that don't concede many, but we've got strikers that don't score any at the moment. Liam Nash, we need to talk about. One word answer: does he start tomorrow for you?
I'll say yes, just because it's the unknown factor.
I think he's got to start 100%.
We need something to get the crowd going. It was so flat against Bradford.
Well, you only have to look at the cameo, yeah, but how was it the last fight? He was on, 5 minutes against Bradford at home? He won 2 free kicks, he had a header just over the bar. He's won the penalty at MK Dons last. Regardless of whether it's a penalty or not, he's got in that position to cause the referee to make a decision. He was bright in pre-season. Again, we can only gauge it to a degree.
Let's be honest.
Well, we've not scored, have we? So it can't be worse.
Scoring, so what's he going to do, not score?
Exactly.
No. I think it's a very low risk. Yeah, so I think he does a lot of graft.
You'll see a couple of people were almost criticising him, slagging him off last week. I mean, we didn't go, so we can't. But I think he's been decent. I don't know. He plays with his back to goal.
As much as he thinks he might get 20 in the season, he won't. But he will do a job. He will, even if he does almost like the Akinfenwa role, if he holds it up and plays in the likes of Nash and.
Yeah, we said if
we get as many assists.
It goes back to what you said. I think we're going to end up with. You might end up with all 4 strikers getting between 7, 8 each. So that's what.
Seems a long way off at the moment, don't it?
Well, yeah, a goal would be nice, but so I'd go in. Right, so let's pick a team then. For me, I'm going to do mine first, and we'll see whether you agree.
Class back, so we can include him, yeah.
Who's that?
Wagstaff.
It says he's in contention. I think Steve Lovell said something on Twitter yesterday that he's in contention, or it's in the paper, but they're going to give him as much time as possible. I did read it somewhere. Must have been on Twitter. I think they said he's going to. Oh, here it is. Scott Wagstaff groin has been back in training this week, but will also be given as much time as needed to recover. New defensive recruit Ben Nugent is nearly up to speed after missing pre-season. Adi Pennock says he's not too far away. He's a great addition. Work hard behind the scenes and is ready if called upon. Centre half, he does exactly what it says on the tin. He's another big lump, isn't he? But I've got no problem with that at the back. It's just whether we can get in a bit of craft and a bit of goal at the other end. And there's just brief bits. Phoenix Sports, we play in the Kent Reliance Cup. Stephen Payne scored last week. I think we played them next week, don't we? I think Shrewsbury. So they're one, aren't they?
They
can't believe that stuff. I didn't get relegated in my predicted league.
They won 3 out of 3. They brought in 3 players or something, didn't they?
Yeah, not loads, not a massive turnover, but
not brought in hardly anybody.
I think Payne's one of them. He's gone there permanently now, hasn't he? He was on their loan last season. And the other one was Sean Raggett, I see in the week, went to Norwich.
Yeah.
Bit out of the blue, but fair play to him. That's a huge step up. I can't see him getting straight inside, but
no, he's gone back on loan, isn't he, to Lincoln?
I think he's there till is it the rest of the season or January? January. Yeah. So, and then the other one is Billy Bingham. He's got an outside chance for tomorrow. Personally, I wouldn't start him
if there's any doubt with him or Wagstaff,
we're not sure,
don't do it.
Because apparently he was quite injury prone at Crewe, so which I read the other day. So, but if everyone was fit tomorrow, so including Wagstaff or Bingham, I would go 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Because both of our wing backs, which would likely be Ogilvie and O'Neill, they're not forward thinking. I don't think Ogilvie's got enough pace to do that.
No, defensively he's good,
yeah.
But yeah, he's one of them. I think gets to the halfway line, he's looking to pass.
I'd go Holy in goal, Luke O'Neill right back, Connor Ogilvie left back. I'd go Lacey and Zakwani in the middle.
Is Lacey fit, man? Is he going to play 90 minutes?
What did he play? He played last week.
He came off last week, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
I might be wrong. I'm sure I already came off.
Well, but he's obviously getting up to speed, so I'd still start them two. Max Amer, I'm not just saying that because people slagged him off, but I think he's probably...
I think 4-4-2 suits us.
Might do. We don't know,
so
let's try it. Yeah, back to base. And then we can get Lee Martin and Scott Wagstaff on the side if they're both fit.
That's ideal, that's what you want.
Then if Bingham's fit, he sits. I'd play him at the moment still alongside Josh Wright. I know there's a call for Darren Oldacre to come in, but while we're not winning, I'd still think a little bit more experience in there, and Bingham will free Wright up to do a job as just a central midfielder. And then we've already said I'd have Eads and Nash up front. But with that, if it's not working, you can go back to 3-5 because you can tuck O'Neill in to make a 3 with Lacey and Zach.
Drop Wagstaff back.
That's it. Wagstaff becomes your wing back. Ogilvie goes as a wing back, and then you go Bingham in front, Josh Wright, Lee Martin, and your two strikers. Obviously, if Bingham and Wagstaff are not fit enough to start, then it'd probably, for me, it'd be
pretty much unchanged, I think.
I'd still be inclined. I'd maybe start Josh Parker from the side as a winger.
Boy, imagine that. Imagine not playing him as a striker.
Because he's got loads of pace. That'd be mine. But obviously, it probably all change tomorrow. If a couple of them don't make it, it all changes anyway. So, predictions. Obviously, we did our monthly predictions, but it changes.
I said 2-1.
I said 2-1.
To be honest, I'll take a 1-0 that goes in off people's backside at the end.
2-1 looks a long shot at the moment. Suddenly to score 2 in 90 minutes after getting none in 360. It's obviously we've got the 2-1 from the beginning of the month, but yeah, I'd take it. And I think it's just a win of any description would be absolutely superb tomorrow, just to get us up and running, and then we build some momentum towards Tuesday.
Like I say, we've got a couple of games coming up.
Well, it's 3 in a week, isn't it, at home? So
one win, and then maybe you take.
That's it. Yeah, with the monthly predictions, it's hard because we said we'd start. I think we all had an unbeaten month. I think, didn't it? Yeah. So I'm gonna say we'll squeeze out a narrow home win of some description. Fingers crossed. Right, I think we've wrapped that up this morning. Covered everything in the paper. We will be back for Match Day Live tomorrow at the ground, so we will see you all then. As always, thank you for watching. Please, please, please keep getting people to subscribe. We're only 8 away now from 500. And until next time, up the Jills.